Okay, so maybe this is a good transition, actually, talking about angel investors to switching into the other half of your life, or I guess you really work two jobs, and so it's the other life. So you've been this amazingly successful angel investor. Can you talk maybe just starting high level, how you think about investing at a high level and your philosophy to investing?
Sure, yeah. I think most angels are very people focused. I'm very market focused. So I think great people in terrible markets get crushed by the market on average. And terrible people in great markets sometimes do great. And there's a number of examples of that in Silicon Valley of just awfully run, bad companies, terrible HR issues, everything's broken, and they have a multi-billion-dollar company. And it's largely just driven by product market fit. And then there's the last piece of it, which is great teams in a great market really do something magical, right? That'd be like a Google or something where you're like, wow, like they've taken advantage of the situation to the utmost degree in the most positive way. So I'm a very market-driven investor. In almost every case, there have been some examples where I've said, you know what, I'll just take a flyer once and try it out, or a few times. But on average,
how's that worked out for you?
On average, very badly. And I mean, it could be I'm a bad judge of founders, or it could be that on average markets matter. So.
Interesting. So okay, so that's the number one characteristic
Yeah.
you look for. What's the number two characteristic you look for?
I mean, it's really market, and then it's probably after that it's founders, and then the last thing would be not just are they good founders, are they ethical? Would you take their call? Late on I've literally had the founders of Stripe call me at 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday and say, hey, can you meet for a drink? We're thinking of buying a company. How do you do that, right? For their first acquisition. So, you want to work with people that are ethical and that you view it as being a long-term relationship with, because, some of these things turn into like 9-10 year journeys, and some angels drop off, early on, and some keep going. And if you keep going, you're going to be talking to those people for 10 years, so.
Well, optimistically, it is actually a 10-year journey. Yeah. Right? Like if the company's successful, you want them to be around for a decade plus, and so. So if number one and number two are markets, what are the markets that you're really excited about right now?
Yeah, so crypto is obviously one. So I'm super excited about where things are from a pricing perspective in terms of some of the public tokens. Well, that's not investment advice, obviously. So it's more just personally, yeah. I'm very excited about CoinList. No, I'm just kidding. So no, I'm extremely bullish on crypto and sort of multiple substantiations of that. I'm really excited about sort of the no-code consumer world right now. So I think basically, if you look at a lot of spend that big enterprises have, it's basically going to Accenture and Capgemini and companies like that. And it's being eaten away on one side by the Airtables of the world in terms of just simple templated self-serve apps effectively that you can build yourself. And then on the other side by RPA and sort of the UiPaths. And I think those two things are sort of eating away at the center, which is...
Can you define RPA for everybody?
Oh, sorry. RPA is robotic process automation, which when I first heard that, I thought it was like robotic arms like doing something. But what it really means is you're automating certain types of manual tasks. And one way to think about it is almost like you're layering an API on top of any other software product. So for example, you'll download a client and then you'll be an SAP or something. And you, as a just average white collar worker or blue collar worker, you don't need to know how to code at all. You can sort of select some boxes and take some actions, and then it'll repetitively do that for you based on some preset criteria. So effectively, you've built an API. So it's almost like providing API access to the world of people who would never be able to write code. So I think that's like a really interesting trend. And so Accenture will come into an organization and write a $5 million app that is some broken HR thing or some broken specialized CRM, and now you can just go on Airtable and build that yourself. So I think that's a really big shift in how the world works from a software perspective, and I think there'll be verticalized versions of that coming sort of as the next wave. So that's a biggie. There's a lot in real estate technology. There's a lot of areas actually I think that are interesting right now. Supply chain and logistics, like a few places.
Gotcha.